Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. Today is the my brother Joseph Kamperman. He's been on the show before, third time, but this time it's a playoff edition. A lot of big storylines around the league. And last time both of our teams were absolutely terrible. 49ers at 3-5, Eagles at 3-5. So we put together a video before we start the show. By the way, how are you doing?
I'm good, great. Thanks for having me. And I think we were actually at 2-5 last time we talked, but I can't remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it was right after. No,
I
the
think it
49ers
was
were
after
two
the
and
Oakland
four.
Raiders. I think it was actually the Oakland Raiders game. We had a really badly disciplined game, I feel like.
The
Yeah.
49ers were 2-4 because they had just come off their bye,
Okay, then
and
the
you
Eagles
guys,
were
I think, were
okay. We're 2-5.
2-5. Yeah.
2-5, yeah.
So, both teams not very good, but now they're both in the playoffs. So we've compiled we've compiled a short video of us ripping our teams last time, and we're gonna praise them this time and see how they match up against the teams that they are playing in the playoffs. So here it is. It's about a minute long, and then we'll get going with the show.
They're fundamentally not sound. They're not playing good football, and the bottom line is they're just not disciplined. I mean, and it's painful. It really is painful to watch. It's not been easy to watch them this year. But I'm optimistic Eagles fan because I was with them when they were 4-12. This is not a bad team. They're not being coached well, and they're not being disciplined.
Why Kyle Shanahan named him the starter for the Chicago Bears game in his press conference, but this team was awful defensively. Offensively, they couldn't get anything done. It wasn't the rain, but still, your defense was dang awful. And Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw it past 5 yards. Okay, with Carson Wentz, when you're throwing it past 5 yards, okay, you're like, okay, this is gonna be good because he's a talented thrower. Okay, and he ripped us. Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo throwing it past 5 yards, you were like,
and that.
So that's it. That's the thing that we compiled.
Wonderfully created.
We've come a long way, so we're going to discuss it all. Thank you, everyone, for joining. But so let's get to the first topic that we have. We're going to get to your Eagles, obviously. They're playing the Buccaneers now. A little bit of a tidbit here. The Buccaneers do have Leonard Fournette back for this game. He is designated to come off IR.
Yes.
Yeah, news.
They have not activated. They have not activated him yet, have they?
No, I don't think so. But he is practicing.
They wouldn't have
week
done
and
that. They wouldn't have done that. Yeah. Now a lot has changed. I mean, the last time we talked, this was an undisciplined 2-5 Eagles team. I believe Nick Sirianni had just given his flower speech. We were all waiting for the Eagles players to bloom or to sprout. A lot has changed. Coaching has drastically improved. We went from being almost it's incredible, and I won't harbor on this very long because we could spend an hour just on this, but it is incredible how we were 6 weeks through the season, I think maybe the worst or one of the worst rushing attacks. Yeah. And we are now 100 yards ahead of the second. We're the top running team in the NFL. And it's that is a massive change. That doesn't just have to do with improving of the players, but also improving of the coaching drastically. So I think they designated not one but three players, Levante David, Leonard Fournette, and someone else. I can't remember the third player. Levante David's probably going to be not at full health. I will say this. I guess we can dive into topic number one, or we can stay with.
Let's go with. We don't have to, but now that you're talking about the Buccaneers and the Eagles, but they've come a long way, and now the Eagles kind of earned their way into the playoffs. So how do the Eagles? Let's just break down this game. How did the Eagles match up with the Buccaneers? And
I mean, looking just quick, really briefly as a preface to this question. I mean, if you look at all the teams that didn't make the playoffs, I can't really tell you one team that deserved in the NFC. AFC, it's different. But in the NFC, that deserved to be ahead of the Eagles and the 49ers at 6 and 7. The Saints, it would not have been a very pretty thing. They don't have a quarterback. It doesn't matter how good their defense is. They weren't. I think both the 49ers and the Eagles actually have a chance to progress past their first game. Rather, I don't think the Saints would have had a chance. So I'm actually glad the 49ers made it. And I also don't like the Saints. So I mean, it's a win-win for me. But how they match up against the Buccaneers, one of the things that I will say was sort of stood out to me, and I'm actually going to pull up some of my notes, so give me a second here. My camera may disappear while I pull these up.
Usually, no, it's not disappearing. Usually it doesn't.
Okay, let me put this to the left of the screen.
And the thing is like Leonard Fournette is still going to be coming off of an injury. He's still going to be rusty. You probably expect them to work him in. Now, before the injury, this guy was probably the best the best running back in the league. I mean, he was freaking insane.
I would say.
Oh my gosh,
you can compare him to obviously not as good as Derrick Henry, but yes, I mean he was playing well. But the problem is they don't have Ronald Jones to spy him. Ronald Jones is doubtful to play. Cyril Gray is also doubtful to play, and I know that doesn't mean much to anyone, but the truth is Mike Evans is now really their only healthy. Well, he's not even healthy. Their receiver. So the way I look at it is this: starting with the Eagles' defense. Eagles defense surprisingly has played pretty well over the last 8 games. Now, I will say this, the first 8 games, they did play harder opponents. Just to show you, their opponents per points per game, weeks 1 through 7 was 24th. They are now tied for 4th, weeks 8 through 16. Big jump. Total QB rating, they went from 17th to 12th. Opponents' rush yard per game, 29th to 2nd. Opponents' first downs per game, 28th to 8th. So I do believe defensively their game plan have started to change. They're playing a little bit more man coverage. They're playing zone in certain situations. Their linebackers have definitely improved. I thought Davion Taylor being named the starter has been a massive – not Davion Taylor. Edwards, TJ Edwards, I thought him being named the starter has been massive. So one of the things that I would say defensively, but they also, if you look back, they played the football team twice, the Giants twice, the Broncos, the Saints, and the Lions. So if you look at those, the Saints and the Broncos are the only 2 teams that I could say, hey, they weren't that bad. The other 2 teams, but still, it's still a drastic improvement because those first 8 weeks of the season, we still did play some pretty bad teams. We played the Falcons. We played the So I would say it's definitely their defense has improved. They're rushing per game, 78 rush yards per game. That's going to be huge. I mean, I don't care if it's Ronald Jones, which is probably not going to be, but I don't care if it's Leonard Fournette. I like our chances of containing it. Where I think there's going to be an issue is the tight end game. We have struggled against tight ends all year. I think Rob Gronkowski could very well have a 100-yard game because on top of Mike Evans being really the only guy that Tom Brady has serious rapport with, Rob Gronkowski is going to be the guy who's going to get targeted a lot. However, it's only 2 players on offense, and I like our chances if Slay follows Evans for a majority of the game. I like our chances stack the box, put 8 people in the box, and shut down Leonard Fournette if he plays. Personally, if I look at sort of from a perspective of the Eagles, we're the number 1 running team in the NFL by 200 yards almost. The next person is Indianapolis. Now this changes.
Now the 49ers kind of has missed running backs.
Yeah, and this changes because if Derrick Henry's healthy, I think probably Tennessee finishes with the top running. But still, it doesn't. Regardless,
you guys
the Eagles
top
are a
5
good running team. And the truth is, we got to look at it. We are missing our right guard and our left guard from the season. So in Brooks and Samuelo. Now we haven't played with him for a majority of the season, but still, this is incredible to see what this team has done. They're relatively healthy, but they're definitely missing some starters. They're missing their top defensive lineman and Graham. So I'm impressed with the way that they've turned things around. So those are my two keys: stopping the run and being able to run the ball. Because I know that if you can limit the amount of times Brady is on the field, you automatically have an advantage. I know that's cliche to say that with a quarterback, period, but it means even more with a quarterback like Brady. Another thing to sort of look at is, we're allowing on average of 107 rush yards per game. That's cumulatively taken from all 17 games. So the last three, we've actually been allowing 116 rush yards per game. So it's not as good as I would like to see, but I do definitely like our chances. Jalen Hurts really has a very small margin for error. I would say one interception. I would say if the Eagles get more than 2 turnovers, I think this game is over.
Yeah.
I don't like our chances of getting very many turnovers against Brady. I do know that he does have this. I mean, there is a small rivalry there. I think he would love to beat the Eagles and sort of put that behind him, even though it's not like beating them in the Super Bowl. He respects them. And look, he's played in this league long enough to know you should never overlook a team, and he's not overlooking them. So, yep, it's an exciting game. I won't harbor on it too long, but I really think being able to stop the run is the keys. I think they will be able to do that. I hope I'm not wrong, but I definitely know running the ball is going to be huge. And one of the keys to that is we've got Miles Sanders potentially coming back, and we've got Jordan Howard hopefully more healthy.
He was limited in practice.
Yeah, they were both limited, and I will say this: I'm concerned that both of them are not at 100%.
Yeah,
I like Kenneth Gainwell and I love Boston Scott, but they are both, even though they're both can be bruising running backs, they're both better receiving backs. So we really need a bruiser, or we need a guy who's shifty like Sanders. And he broke his hand, so I'm just like, can he hold on to that ball? I don't know. So it's going to be interesting. Because the truth is,
go ahead.
If it's healthy, if he's healthy enough to hold on to the ball, they'll put him out there. I don't think they're going to put him out there if they think he's going to risk dropping the ball if he gets hit in the hand. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, hopefully I'm right that he is healthy, but yeah.
Well, I mean, the Buccaneers, obviously, it's unfortunate because they really haven't brought this upon themselves. They were probably one of the most dangerous weapon teams earlier on in the year. But again, you can't really say anything about that because they've just had not good luck with the Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin thing, like everything else. So they just haven't been able.
Running backs just not staying healthy.
Yeah, and so like they're a team that actually, like everyone says, I don't want to play the Buccaneers. I don't want to play the Buccaneers. But at the end of the day, I honestly think that this team, talent-wise, is probably one of the lesser teams, right? Like,
I would say
offensively.
And even deep. Well, yeah, I would say talent-wise, yes, 100%. Yeah, without a question. I think they actually rank. This is crazy to say this. I'm not trying to disrespect the GOAT. I think they're at the bottom. I actually think talent-wise, the Eagles have more talent. Now, Brady is Brady. He's played 46 playoff games. I don't know his exact win-to-loss ratio, but the thing is here's where the difference. And I'll say this reason why I believe the Packers and the Buccaneers will be the 2 final teams, not because they're 1 and 2, has nothing to do with that. It's because both of those teams have a combination of rookies and massive amounts of playoff experience, and it wins the playoffs every day. The Eagles actually are relatively green in the playoffs. I know they've got Johnson, Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox come to mind for the people who have actually been to the Super Bowl with them. I think there's maybe a couple other players, Jake Elliott. But still, this team is relatively new to the playoffs. Eagles got lucky. They're playing in one of the warmest situations as far as weather-wise, but they get to go to play in Lambeau if they win this week. So it won't. The good times won't last forever. But I like my matchup against them. I think it's going to be a tough game. And if you told me, would you bet against your team? I actually wouldn't this week. I am not confident that the Buccaneers are going to put the Eagles away. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to win. Yeah. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to win, but I also think
it's going to be close.
And if it's not close, I think it's simply, and this is cliche, but I think it's simply just going to be because Hurts either starts the game by throwing 2 interceptions or we just can't score. I do fear that they'll be able to stop our run game more than we would think.
Because they have a good run defense. The biggest thing is if you guys can. End. Yeah, go ahead.
I like our tight end. I like the fact that Goddard could be matching up against their linebackers. One of them is coming off of injury, and the other one, I like our chances against him. So.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, like, the big thing is if you guys can pass the ball effectively, because you might have to lean on Jalen Hurts in this game, and this is what defines what if he's a good quarterback or not. You know, their pass game. Again, the Bucs have a weak secondary. So if you guys can attack that, now you guys don't have the strongest receiving core either. But again, like you said, the tight ends are going to be key. Dallas Goedert.
They've got so I won't harbor on this too much. They've got a good cornerback core. It's nothing stands out. I like my chances against them. One of the things I saw one of the Instagram pages I followed today was saying, look, throughout the league year, Jalen Hurts targeted tight ends Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith quite frequently. This needs to be no question. They need to be getting 60% combined of the targets. And I agree. I don't think this is a time to play pretty ball. You've got two stars on offense in Smith and Goddard. I would pepper them with 10 to 12 targets minimum each, if not 15. The reason why I say that is because they're your stars. I'm not saying don't target Quez Watkins, don't target some of these other guys. I just think you need to force the team to play tight on those guys, and it'll open up the run game. So
and that's the thing. Like your team, they can't play risky. They can't go off the bat.
Yeah, they can't. They can play conserve. It's okay for them to play risky, but within reason. Establish the run. I would like to see 10 runs. Not 10 runs. I'd like to see 4 to 5 runs per drive if it's a 10-play drive. I would really like to keep it balanced. There's nothing wrong with being stuck in a 3rd and 5 position situation. It's the 3rd and long situations, and that's what I don't like. When you start the ball, you run it for a 2-yard run, you're 2nd and 8, and then you throw it and you're 3rd and 8. Those situations I can't get them in. That's going to result in punts. Right. And the thing is Brady doesn't mind stacking 3 to 4 field goals because he'll be up 9-3, and he'll score a touchdown, and he'll just keep building on it. So that's really what I have to say about that. It's going to be a tight game. I like my chances because of the fact that we ended up in one of the warmer stadiums. We don't have to go to play Lambeau in this week, which is nice. And we get a team that's banged up. So obviously they've got Brady, ton of playoff experience, but I like my chances.
Yeah, and like I said before we end it, I think this game is going to come down really close. Do you have a score prediction just real quick?
Yeah, I do. I do think that 30 points will be scored. I do, because I just don't see this being a massively defensive game. Okay, so I'm going to give my prediction because I'm not betting against the Birds. I think it's going to be 30-24. I think they'll win by 6 points. However, I would not be surprised to see that game script flipped and see the Birds lose 30-24. I just don't see there being more than a 6-point margin between these two teams. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not.
And remember, they have met before.
They have. And of course,
time
we could touch on this. We could spend a ton of time on this. But when they met last time in the season, don't look at the score. That game was sort of over before the fourth quarter started. However, they started running the ball in the 3rd quarter, and it was like, oh my gosh, this works. And it's like, yeah, it works. So I know we won't see that type of. I think we called 3 run plays all the first half. 3. It was ridiculous, and the weather was not like, it wasn't like the weather was forcing them to pass the ball, which rarely ever does the weather do that. But it was not like they just didn't run the ball. And when they started running it, they started like moving the clock, and they would.
Yeah, and then they kind of made a comeback.
And of course, we did that. That was the problem. The first 8 weeks of the season, we would end up down a ton, and then the score would finish, and we'd be like, oh, you only lost to the Chiefs by like 10 points. And it's like, oh, no, dude, this game was over by the 3rd quarter. So thankfully, we've been playing better the last 8 weeks. But the truth is, if you can't beat Tom Brady, no one's going to hate you for it. You're going to finish with 3 first-round picks in the top 20. However, I would like to see us give a fight because I think it'd be a testament to how well Sirianni has really rebounded over the last 8 weeks. So
and to how you guys were not expected that much. Like the 49ers were supposed to go 10-7 this season.
Yeah.
The Eagles were not.
I don't think people had them winning more than 5 games.
No, exactly. They're a rebuilding team that has a bright future. So,
I mean, think about it. If they do decide to roll with Hurts this year, and we could focus on this, and we could do this when the season ends, but if they do decide to roll with Hurts this year, they have an opportunity to fix their defensive line by getting another defensive lineman because Graham's getting old. They can get a linebacker, and they can either invest their third pick in a safety or corner. Personally, I'd rather them do corner, linebacker, and then an O-line. Like, they have an opportunity to go out, and they have a bunch of cap. You got to remember this crazy stat. Really quickly before we go into the next topic.
Yeah.
The Eagles paid Jalen Hurts, I think, $2 million this year. They paid Carson Wentz $34 million. So he's not even on our team, and it's just crazy. Obviously, I don't like the fact that we got rid of him. I don't like the fact how we got rid of him, but $34 million right there. I've moved on. I love Wentz. I wish him the best. I'm glad Hurts is our quarterback. I like Hurts a lot.
What?
Wentz
hasn't ended off great, but
no, he didn't. The truth is, Wentz was playing very well. Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. But
yeah. So
against the Jaguars and trying to make the playoffs.
I know, and the crazy thing is they've never won in Duval since like 2016.
I didn't know that. I thought that was someone was pulling my leg, and I looked that up, and I was like, oh no, that's legit. But I'll tell you this right now: if you want to go to the playoffs, like I said this when we were going down the stretch, I was like, look, I don't care how bad the football team is or the Giants. If you can't win against them, I don't want to see you in the playoffs. They did what they needed to do to get to the playoffs, and they did it. Indianapolis, all they needed to do was win against the Jaguars. It should have been I'm sorry, but no excuse.
Yeah, and they looked so good with Jonathan Taylor, but whatever.
Well, the 49ers did what they needed to do. They beat the Rams. That was an exceptionally hard game. So you've got to do – if you can't win certain games in the regular season, no one would have looked at the 49ers and said, oh, well, you lost against the Rams. That sucks. You don't deserve to be in it. No, but but when you look at the Colts, everyone was expecting them to win, and they should have won. So anyways, moving on.
So new news here. Did the Dolphins – so Monday, surprise comes out. Now, we were all saying at the time, Joe Judge, like, what the hell? This guy doesn't get fired, and Brian Flores does, but turns out
what a weird world we live in. Oh, I was bummed, man. I was sitting out at the workplace, and I was like, oh, darn. The Giants are following Joe. I mean, this dude was just absolutely – it was not worth – no. I have a lot of things to say about Joe Judge. Joe Judge was almost like a politician in sports. He said all these great things that he was going to do, and he didn't do any of them. Like, we're going to play till the very last down, and then he would, on 3rd and 9, on his own 8-yard line, he would do a quarterback sneak. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did. I heard about it.
And it's like, do you not have any faith that your quarterback can at least try to pick up a first down against a team that sucks? Like, but what I love about it is it's not like he's like, we suck. He was like, we're going to play to every down. We're going to be this team. Their identity was nothing. When they decided to bring him back, when all these reports saying his job is safe, I was sitting here going, good Lord, the Giants have got to be the stupidest organization. And I hate the Giants, but I will be the first to admit that the Maras, the people who own the Giants, they're not stupid people. They demand a level of excellence. So I was shocked when the reports came out saying that he was going to stay. But lo and behold, he's not staying. But yes, to put it in comparison, I see Brian Flores is fired and Joe Judge still has a job, and I'm sitting here at the workplace on Monday going, this is just not fair.
So anyways, well, Brian Flores, I mean, surprise. And I'll just say this, he built a culture there. Like, 2 consecutive winning seasons, just sucks that he didn't get in. And he made Tua Tagovailoa, I believe, somebody that Tua Tagovailoa wasn't. Like, he was developing him, I believe, right. And he was really making up for the mistake that he made. And so he built a culture in Miami that really wasn't there before that. And I think they didn't have, like, there were some things they needed to fix, but I think the culture was there. Obviously you would have liked to they had a lot of talent to make the playoffs this year. They almost did. And they really went on a rampage the last 8 games.
They're in a division with the Patriots and the Bills. I mean, like, that's a tough division as is already. They played really well. I don't have a ton to say about this. I will say this. A report came out. I can't remember who it was that said that it was very likely that Brian Flores didn't like Tua as much as the general manager did. I think that's who it was.
Okay.
And I could see that leading to a firing because personally, I think Flores was ready to move on Tua played well. Don't get me wrong. Tua played well. They went on a 7-game win streak. That's what shocks me that they would fire him. Personally, what I would have done, I would have pulled almost a Joe Judge Giants situation where I would have brought Flores back for 1 year. I would have either surrounded Tua with more weapons because, to be honest, he doesn't have a ton. I mean, I know
Or go after somebody like okay, sorry to interrupt, but quick thought before I lose it. The Seahawks would love to send Russell Wilson there.
Yeah.
At this point, because Russell Wilson is that's an AFC team. You don't have to play him all the time. So, or you bring him back, you get a really good quarterback.
And apparently,
they had
Deshaun Watson said that Flores was the main reason why he was going to want to come there. A report came out saying that Flores was the main reason why Deshaun Watson. So the Dolphins may have just ruined their chances of getting Watson, which, of course, we don't know how his legal situation is going to resolve. Yeah. My guess, unfortunately, is it's going to be a slap on the wrist, which you know how I feel about that. I think Watson should definitely deserve to have some sort of a punishment. But with that being said, I don't agree with this firing. I agreed with the Vikings. I agree with Matt Nagy.
Yeah, those were all sensible. Yeah,
I would have given Flores 1 more year. I would have surrounded him with talent. Defensively, I thought they're pretty good. It still blows my mind that they have like Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. And no one really talks about that cornerback core. And honestly, I don't watch enough. Yeah. I don't watch enough Dolphins games to realize. But
they have a good defense. They're good.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I just don't really. They don't get very much media attention. The thing about Miami is they're sort of sheltered in the division. The AFC is just tough. Now, I'll say this: when you look at the teams that missed the playoffs in the AFC, you're like, oh crap! A lot of these teams deserve to be in there. Like the Chargers, which we'll get to in a minute. When I look at the NFC, I don't see that. So unfortunately, the Dolphins, the Dolphins needed to win more games. They won, but you can't it would have been a miracle had they made the playoffs, but you can't start a season 0-7 and expect to make it. However, it's incredible what they did down the stretch, winning. Was it 0-7 that they started?
No, they were 2-7. I think they were 0-5.
Yeah, 2-7, and then they won 7 straight games.
Yeah,
and then the last game they lost. So they won 7 of the last 8. That's incredible. So kudos to them. Hats off to them. I wish Flores the best. Part of me was like, I hope the Eagles, like Jonathan Gannon, was requested to interview with the Broncos. And they requested to interview the Eagles defensive coordinator. Yeah. Part of me was like, oh, wouldn't that be great if Gannon went to the Broncos and we got Flores as defensive coordinator? But Flores is going to be a head coach somewhere. He's too good to not have
Bears, Vikings.
Personally, even the Raiders wouldn't be a bad one if they decide to move on from Bisaccia.
Is good though.
Well, he is. I don't see why they shouldn't make him the coach, but it's very rare that the interim coach becomes the coach. Now he did lead him to the playoffs, so we'll see. But for instance, let's say that position does open up, and you've got an opportunity to bring in a defensive-minded coach when you've already committed to Carr as your QB. I think Flores is going to flourish, and this is all I'll say. I think Flores is going to flourish somewhere where the quarterback is already decided and is going to be the guy. So would I take the job if it was the Broncos? Probably not. But would I take the job if it was something like the Vikings? Actually, I probably would. And the reason why is because the Vikings seem committed to Cousins. The Raiders seem committed to Carr. Whether I agree with it or not, he at least knows what he has going into it. Rather with the team like the Broncos and even the Broncos, it's just you don't know who your quarterback is. Now, one intriguing thing is Flores could decide to join the Bears. They're a defensive-minded team. They've got a young quarterback in. If you get the right offensive coordinator, you have Flores sort of take care of the defensive side of the ball like Belichick did. Remember, he's from Belichick.
Right.
And then you've got a coordinator who takes care of sort of the offense like Josh McDaniels. I could see the Bears choosing to pick him. I think that's a good move. So, we'll see.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it was very, very interesting. Like, I didn't know what the heck went into that at all, that decision. And again, hope for him the best, but again, real quick before we go, he was better than Joe Judge, though. Like, he had 2 winning seasons.
I don't even think that there's a question. I think no one in the league would have pointed fingers at the Dolphins had they kept him. That's why, when I saw them,
everyone thinks it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't see. And So I think the only reason why it could come down to one or two things. Number one, they're trying to go after and get someone. Like, they're trying to go and get a quarterback in free agency, and they want the quarterback to choose their coach. But they can't tamper with any of these quarterbacks that have to be traded until March. So I don't think they're doing that. But, like, I don't know. Like, for instance, good example really quickly. The Broncos requested to interview Nathaniel Hackett, the Packers offensive coordinator, and the quarterback control coach, or the quarterback's coach. And part of me, I watched Colin Cowherd was saying how they're maybe doing that to try to attract Aaron Rodgers. So who knows what the Dolphins' plans is? Maybe they did this. Maybe this was a strategic move, but it was a really dumb move in my opinion, and I think they'll regret it.
Yeah. So the next one, obviously, 49ers versus Cowboys. It's probably one of the best games of the week.
Yeah.
90s matchup. You know, how do they match up with the Cowboys? I mean, I gotta say, the Cowboys don't have a good run defense, right? So
they actually don't. I was looking. I'll tell you.
No, they're one of the worst in the league, and so
they're like 16. They're bottom half. So like,
they're the 49ers. That does right off the bat not a good matchup at all, because the 49ers will just run it down their throat. Yeah.
Well, no, just to put in perspective, the Eagles with their backups ran the ball against their starters for 149 yards last game.
Yeah.
They're averaging 120 yards over the last 3 games. At home, they are slightly better by 1 yard, 112 yards per game, but they're allowing 0.8 yards per game at home, and that's average. The last 3 games, 120 yards. This is not their defensive line may get to the quarterback, but
it's not a good matchup to begin with. So like that's one thing, right? And then you have, yes, they have a good pass rush, but the 49ers offensive line is actually not done bad this week. And last week, we were able to actually kind of keep the Rams defensive line in check. And we didn't have Trent Williams. We were starting a guy who had never played left tackle before in Colton McKivitz. So that was very impressive.
That's extremely impressive.
So, and then in just the standpoint of the 49ers, I think will outcoach the Cowboys. Cowboys defensive coach, not very good. What's his name again?
Well, Quinn's done an excellent job,
but I think we're going to be able to pick
that I don't think.
Yeah, and so and then the Cowboys don't like. The thing that they'll always do is they will always not stick with what works. So the run game works, but they never run it very much. So like that's thing. And then the 49ers defensive line stopping the run graded that top 5 in the league at stopping the run. Pass rush is very good. Now their O-line is good, but I think and our corners are both solid. Emmanuel Mosley, Ambry Thomas, both solid corners. So they're going to have trouble with that. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the 49ers pull it out. I just see coaching, how the way we match up offensively on offense is just, I think we're going to be able to do a lot of things. We're just going to be able to roll, put the ball downfield a lot. And so those things, and then Trayvon Diggs, I think he's an overhyped corner that is giving up the most yards per game or whatever. He's going to get cooked. Whoever Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, doesn't matter. We're going to be able to have a field day with that. So offensively, and then defensively, I think it's going to definitely be high scoring, but if you can, Dak Prescott has those off days, and if he's on an off day today, if we can force him it's not going to be good for the Cowboys. So
no, going back to the Eagles, I think both the Eagles and the 49ers, what's nice going into this game, and I know they're both our favorite teams, but just in all honesty, is there's not a lot of expectations. If the Eagles and the 49ers lose this week, no one's going to point fingers, be like, they should not have won, right? The pressure is actually on the home teams, and that could sometimes be negative because most of the time the home teams come in and there's relatively they should win, right? That's the pressure on the Broncos, the Buccaneers, and the Cowboys. They both are pressured to win because the truth is no one really expects the 49ers or the Eagles to win as far as experts go. The thing about the 49ers that I would say, if you can control the run game, you can minimize the amount of time the Dak is on the field. But you can also fluster him. Like, let's say he throws an interception. You can keep him off the field for 6 minutes where he can think about that interception for 6 minutes instead of getting back on the field after 3 plays and saying, okay, shake it off. Let's go back to work. That can do a lot to the psyche of a quarterback. One of the things, if you look at the way this team was built, which is one of the reasons why I'm not surprised they picked CeeDee Lamb in the draft. I know everyone's like, well, last 2 years ago, I'm like, well, of course they would have picked him. Had this been a different coach? Probably not. Mike McCarthy has been notorious for having top receivers in both of his stints as a coach. He had Nelson, Adams, and Cobb, and now he's got CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, and was Gallup, but now is gosh, I can't think of the guy's name. He's actually quite good. He's number 1.
Cedric Wilson.
Cedric Wilson. He's actually quite good.
He is.
So he just won't run the ball. Tony Pollard, I feel like, I don't know. The thing about the Cowboys is this. Micah Parsons is coming back. How bad was COVID? I don't know. If I'm sure he's fully healthy.
That's the one guy I'm scared of. Yeah.
I'm sure he's fully healthy, but is he going to drop back and is he going to cover Kittle? Because he played literally corner. What's going to happen there? Or is he going to rush the quarterback more? I don't know. I just know that this is going to be a tough game, but it really comes down to if you can force – I would personally – what I would do.
Yeah.
Garoppolo is nothing like Kyler Murray, but I would look back at the film from that Cardinals game and see what the Cardinals defense did to Dak because they made him play questionably he played very questionable in that game. And
you can use Trey Lance as a substitute. So
yeah, sure, absolutely. So that's the thing. So yeah, for personally, I see one of the things. The 49ers have a pretty good run defense. I've got this team rankings stat sheet. They're 7th in the NFL. I don't know how accurate this is, but they are allowing 103 yards per game.
Yeah.
It's pretty good considering they've actually over the last 3 averaged 80 yards per game, which puts them in the top 4, which is great. Well, no, I guess Las Vegas is – either way, it puts them in the top 5 or 6, I believe, of 80 yards per game averaged over the last 3 games. They allowed only 64 yards running last game. So I do like – if I'm 49ers – I like my chances being able to shut down the run.
Yeah.
Make them one-dimensional, but also realizing that this is a lot different than a Buccaneers team. This is a team that still has 2 very good receivers. Yeah. Unfortunately, they've got Dalton Schultz back, so they have Blake what's his name? Blake Jarwin is
but also Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz, and then I think Jarwin got hurt. He's out for the year.
Yeah, so it's just Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Schultz
they just got Dalton Schultz back. Yeah, so that's the way I look at it. I look at it saying you've got to be able to stop the pass. It's no easy task. The 49ers are going to have to match head for head with the Cowboys when it comes to offensive firepower because they cannot let the defense take control of this game. I will be shocked if the defense limits the Cowboys to less than 21 points. I would be shocked.
And that's the thing, like this is what makes me scared on the offensive end is we've always had problems with mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, look,
super mobile quarterbacks
out there. Personally,
I don't know, but go ahead.
I don't know how your defense works, but personally, I would have someone like I should know this.
It's terrible against mobile quarterbacks, and the thing is D'Amico Ryans will play what Robert Saleh does. Now, we actually haven't been doing bad at containing mobile quarterbacks in the game that Kyler Murray did play like earlier on this season, like week 5 when he did, because Kyler Murray was out the second time we played him. First time we played him, did a great job at containing him. But overall, we're not that great at containing mobile quarterbacks. That's the only scared thing.
I wouldn't say
don't
Dak
let
is
him
not
get
as
out of the
mobile as Kyler. Dak is not as mobile as Kyler, but he's not afraid to use his legs. This is going to be a good game, but I think the expectations for the 49ers, I don't think are as high as they are for the Cowboys because the Cowboys, to me, right now, it's Super Bowl or bust. They're at a point where we're going to have to start paying players in the next couple of years. If they don't really make a run in the next year or two, they're going to get overtaken in the NFC because I think the Eagles are right behind them, not talent-wise yet, but to put it in perspective, I've said this before. I know you thought it was crazy, but if the Eagles had won last week, they were 1 game away from being different from the Cowboys. So there's not a whole lot of difference when it comes to the Cowboys lost some serious games down the road, and I think that 49ers.
And that's another thing. They're another team that will I said this on Sunday. Like, they're a team that they're not necessarily. They're gonna drop game. Like, they have dropped some bad games that they should have won. So like, they're not an indestructible team. It's just I fear for the defense a little bit. I think the offense will be fine. D'Amico Ryans, but they've been playing good. And I think the 49ers with this win, they're probably one of the hottest teams right now in that.
Well, the thing is, they just beat the Rams in overtime. It was a great game. And the thing is, if they beat the Cowboys, they may play the Rams again. Like, so what's crazy to me, and this is what's crazy, if they beat the Cowboys, they go into the Rams game and they win. They're in the championship game. So it's a lot different than the
wait, they play the Rams, but we winner between the Rams and the Cardinals next?
Well, really? Yeah, because, okay, that's assuming that the Eagles were to beat the Buccaneers. I know that's crazy. Okay, I was jumping a little. What I'm saying is the 49ers, if the Eagles win, could get set up. Oh, and I left that little piece out. The 49ers with the Eagles win, because otherwise they'll play the they would actually play in Lambeau. Yeah. So the 49ers right now should be rooting for the Eagles, because they get to not only this is the greatest part, they get to not only avoid playing in Lambeau, but they also get to avoid they would never play Brady, because it's either they win and they play in Lambeau, but if they lose, they're out. So obviously, they're not playing Brady, so they get to avoid playing Brady, but they also potentially get to avoid playing in Lambeau as well until the championship game. So 49ers, that 6th seed was a lot more important than people realize. So
yeah, I agree. It's gonna be one hell of a game. You got, the match. Just the one other thing is you can't afford to make mistakes like you did in the Rams game. Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw 2 interceptions like he did in the Rams game, because if he does, we have to play it safe. I do think we're going to freaking run the hell out of the ball this game. We're just going to feed it and feed it because we do not trust Jimmy Garoppolo. So you have to limit the picks and the turnovers, otherwise this game is over.
You do have to limit your turnovers, but I'm going to disagree, because I actually think
that's how we almost lost the game. So
but I also think a bold statement. I personally think the Rams offense is almost better than the Dallas offense, and they've got Cooper Kupp.
But we match up better with the Rams offense.
That's true.
because their offensive line isn't very good, so we can get after them. We're bigger than them. We're a bigger team than them. We play perfectly. Like the Rams, they're an ideal playoff matchup every time. I'll take them 100 times.
You've beat them. What is it? You've beat them both
6 times in a row.
Wait, really?
Yeah, we've been them for 3 straight years.
Good Lord. Okay, dang. I did not realize that. I knew it was the last 2 years. I didn't know it was the last 3. Yeah. So I get what you're saying.
So, we match up great with them. The Cowboys, at least, this is the biggest problem with the 49ers, and this is why, you saw it with the Bills game last year. Their D-line, if their D-line doesn't get home, it does open up a lot of things. And
so what's your score prediction?
I'm going to say 49ers win it purely because I think they're going to get outcoached, the Cowboys. I really think so. I'm going to say 49ers. 30-27, let's say.
So I'm not going to pick a winner. I'm going to go 30-20. I think there's actually going to be a bigger margin gap than you think. I don't think it's going to be that close. I want to say it's the 49ers. I have a hard time betting against the Cowboys because of that offense. It is scary on the right day, but God Almighty, the defense let the Eagles backup score 17 points in the first half.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I could see the 49ers pulling this game off. I think they can creatively use Deebo Samuel to give the Cowboys fits, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Again, it's at 2:30 Mountain Time, 1:30 Pacific, and then obviously 4:30 Eastern.
It'll be a good game. So Eagles game at 1:00, 49ers game at 4:30, and then you got to finish off the night. You have
no, you do. Well, actually, you do. You have an AFC. What is it? I think it's the Chiefs game.
No, the Chiefs is on Saturday.
Saturday. Oh crap!
I can't think of it now, but It's going to be a good game regardless.
No. I think it's the Raiders versus Bengals. I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to look it up right now. Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football playoffs. I should know this. You are right. It is the Steelers. I don't know why I thought it was the Wild.
Really?
Steelers Chiefs.
Oh, that's not a very good Sunday night game. Ugh.
Well, who knows? NFL wild card schedule. You've got on Saturday. You've got the Raiders pay the Bengals, and the Patriots play the Bills. So that's going to be a great game. You got the Eagles play the Buccaneers at 1, 49ers and Cowboys at 4:30, Steelers and Chiefs. And of course, you got the great Rams Cardinals. That's going to be a great game.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be watching that game
Cards.
for sure. Oh, yeah, I'm cheering for the Cardinals too.
Yeah, I don't like
so. Anyways, so let's move on. Chargers, missed the playoffs. Like, everyone's wondering what the heck. They had so much talent offensively. This team was. So basically, my question is, are they the biggest disappointments? The biggest disappointing team? Like, there was a lot of disappointing teams this year, but are they the biggest one? Because all the talent they had offensively, obviously their run game wasn't that great, but still, I mean, this team was. I think we all expected them to go to the playoffs, and they didn't. So
I'm going to say no, but preface this. Brandon Staley is a rookie head coach. I thought he did a phenomenal job rallying at times. Anthony Lynn Justin Herbert is a star. Personally, I feel like if you take the whole season, yes, they're the biggest disappointing. But if you take the last couple of weeks, it's the Colts. And the reason why I say this is because I think it was Ryan Clark. Who was it? Maybe Ryan Clark said 5 weeks ago, the Colts were a team that no one wanted to play. Now no one's going to get to see them play. And that really is what sums it up. The Colts, I think, are more disappointing. I didn't watch that Chargers-Raiders game. Someone said Staley made some questionable calls.
Yeah,
I don't know what they meant by that.
He called a timeout at the end of the game in overtime when the Raiders were not in field goal position yet. They were just past midfield. He calls a timeout, and everyone was like, what the hell? Like, they could have kneeled it. Yes, and they could have kneeled it, and they both would have went in, but instead that he called a timeout. That gave him a little bit more time. The run up the middle by Josh Jacobs, which was picked up by a first down, and then they were in field goal position.
Okay, that makes sense. I'll say this.
And he went for it on 4th down and whatever on his own 17 earlier on in the game.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. What's the other running back that they have? There was 2. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert. They've got Justin Jackson. They've got Rashawn Slater, who's projected to be one of the top, offensive players from the draft this year. He won't win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but he should definitely be considered in that conversation. I thought when Rashawn Slater dropped so far, I thought, man, whoever's going to get him, they're getting lucky because he was very good. You and I were both very high on him in the draft. He's a Pro Bowler now. Yes, I think they're a massive disappointment. I would definitely put them in the Colts. I think the Colts didn't have a ton of expectations because of Carson Wentz in last year, the way he played. But then down the stretch, the last 5 games, I have to say the biggest disappointment would be the Colts. For me, the Chargers massively disappointed. But look, the truth is this. While I believe Mike Williams and maybe even Keenan Allen are both free agents next year, this is a talented quarterback, and you can build around him. So long term, Chargers are going to be better than the Colts. Herbert is an extremely good player. Brandon Staley's a young coach. I get why he called the timeout. They should never have been in that position where they had to tie to win to go in. So,
well, and the Chargers, they're like you said, they have a bright future ahead of them, but I would say they are probably because their defense still has some holes. Like, that's one thing they have to fix going into it. Their offense is and if they can fix their defense, then this team's going to be scary. And I expect them to this is an encouraging team, go to the playoffs years and few years, but like they were in my power rankings top 10 every week, basically, because
Yep.
they were a very strong team. But I actually have some statistics for you here, or just the games that they won, how many points they put up. So they were literally 35 last week. Now they had 13, but a few weeks ago, so they allowed 41 against the Texans. They lost versus the Texans. 34 against the Chiefs. 21 versus the Giants. That's pretty good, but Bengals 22. And then a few weeks back, they allowed 37 to the Steelers. Like, I think it was like 8 weeks ago, they allowed 37 to the Steelers. And the Steelers are not a good offensive team.
Defensively, they've got to improve. You can't allow that
they
many
have
points
to.
in a game.
So their defense was absolute crap, and I believe that's why they didn't make the playoffs.
And the Raiders deserve to be there better. They played way better down the stretch with a coach that no one even thought. They thought this is a losing season. Like, they were doing really well. Then they have John Gruden scandal. Then after that, they have Henry Ruggs. Then they lose Damon Arnett. Like, over and over and over again. They had players that were messing up. They had the coach. Bisaccia came in there and massively impressed.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, just what I got to say. But I also think this team kind of needs a mini rebuild, because I think the way, like, the running back, like Austin Eckler, did not live up to hype this year.
Well, fantasy football-wise, I think he was great. But
but
I think what would be really good if they get a bruiser that can complement his receiving abilities.
Yeah, so they're, I mean, again,
and they
overall,
need to improve defensively. So
Right.
37 points, like you said, to the Steelers. The defense should not have given up, 41 points to the Texans. Texans are a better team than,
41.
but still, no.
Yeah. So I was just real quickly plugging in my computer. So yeah, that's about it for that topic. So next one we got here, can the Cardinals, obviously Cardinals, Rams, we just talked about it Monday night, whatever. But can the Cardinals expose the Rams just like the 49ers did? Basically we're just going to quickly break down the game here. But so
yes, I think they can. The Cardinals defense is actually quite talented. If you saw what they did against
Ew!
It was Eddie B. That's pretty cool. Paris, France.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, thanks you for coming into the chat. We have somebody.
I'm an Eagles fan, so boo, boo, boo. I know to the Cowboys, go Cowboys, but I appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah. Wow.
It's great. So going back to it, the Cardinals, personally, I think their defense is actually quite good after seeing the way that they played against the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. I felt like their defense gave Dak Prescott problems. I know this sort of is a segue into a next question about Matthew Stafford. The Cardinals corners, I'd be curious to see whether or not they can control Cooper Kupp. Aside from Cooper Kupp and Cam Akers now coming back, offensively, they don't really scare me. They lose Robert Woods. I know they have Van Jefferson, sorry. I think my short answer would be yes. The Cardinals can expose the Rams. I think that they can force Stafford into playing hero ball, which would result in interceptions. 11
interceptions in 8 games.
My concern is Murray's going to have to step up with his legs at some time. That high ankle sprain was pretty severe. Is he fully healthy? I don't know, and he probably isn't. But is he going to run? Because when he runs, he can break the game, like the deadlocks. And so I would say, to me, I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury. Like someone said, it's Shanahan, McVay, and Kingsbury in that offense, in that division. I couldn't agree more. But I want to see Kyler Murray take over the game. We know what type of arm strength he has. The truth is, there's low expectations when it comes to the Cardinals. They are missing their top receiver. They're banged up. Zach Ertz is becoming a focal point of their offense, but he's not a receiver. Personally, I think there's less pressure for the Cardinals to win, but they invested as if they were in win now mode. So they're going to have to pay Murray soon. And it's not going to be cheap. So a win here would do a lot for.
Yeah, I think I gotta say, J.J. Watt is coming back.
Potentially.
So that's gonna. Wait,
He's
really?
He's non-committal, apparently.
Okay, well, let's just say he is. That defense was not the same without him.
True.
And so they're going to be able to maybe get after Matthew Stafford more. And I was listening to this Chris Sims on Budden. He basically said, like, the Rams are always like, they're a small team actually defensively, but the thing that they have over teams is that they're fast. And the 49ers, the thing with them is they're fast and big. So the Cardinals might be big, but they just have to be faster than the Rams offensively. They have to they just have to make the Rams pay. They really just have to play bully ball to win this game. And if they can, great. But like defensively, I think if JJ Watt comes back, that defense really has never been the same without him. He made a big difference on the defensive line.
The pass rush, 100%.
Right, exactly. So the Cardinals, again, I think this is going to be a close game. But I think I'm going to actually pick the Cardinals to win this game because I think this is really the game where Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury will get over the hump and show that what they're made of. I honestly think that Kyler Murray is going to shred this team. I really do. I think he really needs to show that that he is the best quarterback in this division. So I think honestly they're gonna try to run the ball. I don't know. Keep Aaron Donald in check. I don't have a lot to say on this, but if you can kind of do what the 49ers, even a little bit, especially defensively, if you can kind of duplicate what the 49ers did to Matthew Stafford. And at the end of the day, I say this every week when I talk about the Rams. You just can't make mistakes. This is the biggest key, actually, in this game. Do not make mistakes because the Rams will eventually shoot themselves in the foot. That's exactly what the 49ers did in the second half last week. They just didn't make mistakes. And Matthew Stafford over here throws 2 picks. So Matthew Stafford is bound to make mistakes in a game. You just can't make mistakes. So, like, you can't make mistakes. So that's what I got to say. Like, the Rams, great team, but they tend to shoot themselves in the foot quite a bit. And that's what's going to get them at the end of the day. And I think it's going to get them this game. I think the Rams are not a very hot team right now. I think the Cardinals, coming off of the few just lost to the Seahawks, but the Cardinals have it. They just beat the Cowboys. The Cardinals have it. They have it. So both teams coming off of depressing losses. I think the Cardinals will get it done. This game could come down to the wire, though. So
I'm going 35-27 Rams. I still have faith. I have faith in the fact that I think the Rams are going to run the ball, establish a run with Cam Akers. I just don't like this offense of the Cardinals. They are missing receivers. If AJ Green has a decent game, I think they have a chance of winning. But DeAndre Hopkins not being there is huge.
Yeah, it is.
But you may be right. It may be closer, and it could be. I'm not saying the Cardinals won't win. I have more faith in the Rams.
Right. That's a good point. So let's move on then, if that's okay with you. Yeah. So Matthew Stafford, we were just talking about him, but 8 picks in 11 picks in 8 games. Pretty bad. Like that's
unacceptable. I personally, if they make it past the Cardinals, I think they don't make it another game. The Rams are not going to the Super Bowl.
No.
I wouldn't put $100 on the fact. Well, actually, probably I would almost bet $100 they're not going to the Super Bowl, and that's not very much. But I just personally don't see the Rams going very far.
Okay.
Even
with all the talent.
I mean, they're very talented, but I just think, I have the Packers winning it all. I have the Packers going to the Super Bowl because of this weather they're having in Wisconsin. I just don't see the Rams traveling up to the Packers and beating Green Bay in Green Bay.
Yeah.
The Eagles have done it before in the winter. If anyone can do it, it's the Buccaneers, it's the Eagles, the 49ers. Some of their players have played up there in the winter.
Yeah.
But teams that are easier, that's one of the reasons why it's like the Eagles are like the only team in the playoffs.
49ers are always pretty good in Lambeau.
Besides the 49ers.
Historically. Yeah.
So with that being said, Stafford reminds me of a poor man's Brett Favre. Maybe the same. They're just gunslingers. Stafford is not afraid to throw 400 yards and 3 interceptions in a game, or 404 interceptions in a game. the thing is, with how good Cooper Kupp is, he can throw the ball 4 interceptions, but they can still win because of Cooper Kupp. Cam Akers is coming back. He's more healthy than norm. Than he, obviously he's getting more healthier as the days progress. Is he as good as people think he is? No, but here's the deal. The Rams wanted someone that wasn't conservative, that could sling the ball around.
Right.
That's why they got rid of Goff and they brought in Stafford. I think Stafford is being what the Rams had hoped him to be. Now it's just whether or not the defense can make some statements. Eric Weddle, I don't know if you saw that.
Yep,
Eric Weddle came out of retirement to replace the safety that got hurt in, I believe, the 49ers game. So how is that defensive backfield going to hold up? And if Stafford can limit interceptions to 1 or 2 per game throughout the playoffs, because of how good that defense is, it's probably not impossible for them to win games. But it's the issue is where does he throw the interceptions? Is he throwing them when they're on the 30-yard line, or is he throwing them when they're in the red zone? Because the thing is if he's taking points off the board, they're losing this game. And I know that's cliche, but it's a big difference if you throw an interception on your own 30-yard line than on the 5-yard line in the end zone. Everyone knows that, but where is he going to throw these interceptions? Because we know he's prone to give the ball away. I don't think they're a bad team. I don't see them progressing past the first game. But
yeah, I mean, this will be overall a very good game, but I think he is slightly overrated. But I think, again, few people can do what the 49ers do. So, yeah, he's overrated, but few people can do that. So
they match
against
up very
other
well.
teams, he's great.
Yep.
So, I just think that, he's great. He's overrated, but you don't again, this loss, you don't put too much, this was a worrying loss, but don't put too much stock into it at the same time, because it is the 49ers. They beaten them 3 years straight, which is crazy. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with what you're saying. It'll be an interesting game. I don't think Matthew Stafford is a top 5. I think Matthew Stafford is better than a guy like Garoppolo or Hurts in the playoffs right now. But I just don't see Stafford going all the way. And I don't think I think there's a real chance they're out this game, but maybe they'll win one. I think the only reason why they're going to win this week in this region, why I'm picking it, because I just don't trust the Cardinals offense. I know they've got James Conner, Chase Edmonds, and Zach Ertz, and I know they've got Kyler Murray, but missing that true number 1 receiver, I think, is going to hurt them. If it's not going to be this game, it's going to be next.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So the last one, we can just do this rapid fire.
Yeah, for sure.
But predicting the NFC and AFC championship game, I will quickly tell you my teams that I think will make it. I think it's going to be I have a little bit of a sleeper here for the NFC, but I'm going to say the NFC is going to be Packers versus Cardinals. Because if they can bear with me, the matchups, though, because I would pick the 49ers, but if the 49ers win this week, they have to go to Lambeau to face the Packers. So
unless
the Cardinals win, though.
Unless the Eagles win.
Right. But all assuming the Buccaneers win. Sorry, Joseph.
Yeah. No,
but
that's fine.
The Cardinals will have to play, let's say, the Buccaneers. I think let's say DeAndre Hopkins potentially potentially comes back for next week.
Yep.
Maybe I could see them doing it. I just think that I don't know. I have a good feeling about the Cardinals.
That's bold. That's bold.
It's gonna show up, but I think Packers. I think number 1 seed. They're definitely the best seed. Like we say, there's not a ton of teams in the NFC that I really trust. Well, the Packers I don't really trust either. I think they have weaknesses, but there's no NFC team right now that really can shut down the Packers. So their weaknesses. And then AFC game, I'm going to say, let me see here. I have it right here. Chiefs versus, hold on. Wait, did I not? Oh, I think I was going to say Chiefs versus Bengals, but I don't think that's possible, right? Is it?
It is. So who are the Bengals playing the first game?
Well, they play the Raiders.
They play the Raiders. If they were to win and the Chiefs were to beat the Steelers, they would go play. Yeah, it is possible because if they beat the Raiders and the Chiefs beat the Steelers, the Chiefs would then host whoever beat the Bills versus the Patriots.
Ooh.
And no, not necessarily. Because if the Bills, it is not possible. Because if the Bengals win, the Bengals are playing the Chiefs, because the winner of the Bills Patriots game will play the Titans.
I would say Bengals rematch with the Chiefs and beat them again, just because I think the Bengals match up really well with the Chiefs. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, everything else. And then this is a huge debate. Is it the Bills or the Titans, right? Because the Bills, I feel like, are hot. I'm going to say Titans, because they will get Derrick Henry back. They're going to work him in, though. That's really hard, but I'm going to say Bengals Titans for the AFC Championship game.
Okay.
But it very well could be Bills. Like,
very early Super Bowl prediction.
So So I'm going to say Packers. I don't want to say the Bengals right now, because they're not, I don't know.
No.
Packers Bengals, honestly. Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay.
I think they're a hot team. Or Packers Bills. That would be a good game too.
Interesting. So I'm going to go a little different. On the NFC side, I've got the Packers being the final team. I obviously would love the Eagles to be in the championship round. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, then you can get $30 from me.
Yeah. If the Eagles go and beat the Buccaneers, they're going to have momentum going to Green Bay. But right now, Aaron Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder. We could spend the whole episodes talking about that. But I think it's going to be the Packers, and I think the other team that's going to play them, personally, what I think right now, we're going to see it's hard, because assuming the Eagles don't make it past, I would say Packers Buccaneers, but I actually think the Eagles are going to beat the Buccaneers this week. And if they do, it leaves me with the Cowboys, the Rams, the Cardinals, or the 49ers. I think right now
49ers wouldn't. That's not possible. Because 49ers, if you're going Packers to the NFC Championship game, 49ers.
No. Well, if the Eagles.
My bad.
So with that being said, I think it's going to be a Rams Packers. I know I said I don't see them making it past the first round, but the more I think about it, it's either Rams Packers or Rams Buccaneers, and I can't make up my mind on it. I guess what I'm going to say right here, realistically, I think it's going to be Packers Bucks. Playoffs. It's your championship. On the AFC, I'll make it quick. I think the Titans are going to be the number one. I think they're going to be in the championship round. I think it's really not about them being better. It's about who they're going to play. And most likely they're going to play I just don't see the Bengals losing to the Raiders. I think they're going to play the Bills or the Patriots. I think they match up against both of those teams very well. Remember what happened when the Patriots played the Bills? They ran it only 3 times. The Titans have that ability to do that with Derrick Henry.
They threw it only 3 times.
I think it's going to be a Titans-Bills matchup, and I think the Titans will win. I think the Chiefs are going to win the Bengals. I have no question. I've got the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl because I think the Chiefs will go into the Titans game. I think you can't bet against the biggest thing. This is the biggest difference of all the teams that are in the playoffs in the AFC right now. Besides coaching experience, which Bill Belichick has, but he is not the best team to work with, even though Mac Jones has been great. There is not a single coach in the NFL, in the AFC, that has more experience in the playoffs than Andy Reid. Bengals, no. Bills, no. Patriots, yes, but I just don't see their team. Titans, yes, Mike Vrabel's got experience, but not as much as Andy Reid. So experience matters in the playoffs, especially when it comes to coaching. Andy Reid has learned the hard way because, trust me, as an Eagles fan, trust me.
And the way they started this year, like, you'd think they wouldn't be a Super Bowl contender, but
in my opinion, they are, and it's because Andy Reid over the last 2 Super Bowl seasons, last year and the year before, he turned around his coaching in the NFL. I drastically saw him become a different coach in the playoffs, which was the main knock for him while he was in Philly. So I've got the Chiefs playing the Packers in the playoffs, and I have the Packers winning it all. I have Aaron Rodgers getting his 2nd ring. I obviously would love to see the Eagles in the playoffs, but I have the Packers winning it 34-24 in the Super Bowl against Andy Reid, which is hard for me to say because I love Big Red, but I think it's about due time for the Packers to win a Super Bowl. If it's not going to be the Packers, I think it's going to be a flyer. I think it's going to be the Eagles or the 49ers. And I'm saying it right now. The reason why, because I don't see the
Hopefully it's not the Eagles, because otherwise I'm giving you all my money. So
yeah, don't even, a little bit just anyone know. But
shit.
we'll tie this episode off on a note with me saying if the Packers don't make the Super Bowl, I don't think it's a team that anyone expects. Like I don't think it's the Rams, I don't think it's the Cowboys, and I don't think it's the Buccaneers. So that leaves us with the Cardinals, the 49ers, or the Eagles. And I know people are going to call me crazy for saying this, but whoever beats the Packers in Lambeau is winning it all.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I just don't see, and when I mean all, I mean the Super Bowl as well. So if the Eagles were to go into Lambeau and win it, I just don't see anyone beating the Eagles. Or even beating. So let's say the 49ers go in and they win in Lambeau.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you can lose it again. So
yeah, that's true. I mean,
it's the hardest.
This is
place
my
to play
biasness, but 49ers over Eagles, maybe. Just maybe.
I can see that. I would say I like Hurts. I like Hurts over Garoppolo.
No, yeah.
As a better, but the
Garoppolo.
49ers have a better overall team, yes, than the Eagles,
Yeah.
defensive wise, especially. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so that's our show, guys. We've been here for the last 70 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for watching. That's been my brother, Joseph Kamperman. And, yeah, I mean, it's
go
great
Birds
that
and go
both
49ers.
both of our teams are in the playoffs, unlike last time.
I loved that video. It's like such drastic changes, but some things happened. We both started coaching better. Our players started playing more as a team. And it's not about how you start a season. It's about how you finish it.
I mean, the Eagles. Go ahead.
A good example is the Lions a couple years ago. Well, I keep saying a couple years ago. This is scary. Many years ago, the Lions were on a massive streak, and they ended up. I think they won like 6 games straight, and they ended up missing the playoffs. It's not about how you start a season; it's about how you finish it.
Yep. Almost with the Cardinals too.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, 49ers. I think the Eagles won the last 6 out of the 9 until that stretch. Yeah, it was 6 out of the 9.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the 6 out of the 9, and then 49ers won, I believe, 2 and 4. They were. I'm trying to think.
It was 7 of the last 9 games who won.
Okay, and 49ers because they were.
You are right. 6 out of the last 9 because that's counting the Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 and 5, and then we won the last 7 out of the 9 as well. So. Anyways, guys, this has been a lot of fun. That's me. This Benjamin Kamperman, Joseph Kamperman.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. And playoffs, I'll probably be back Sunday to do a pregame show. Enjoy it. Season's gone by fast, but it's gonna be
crazy playoff season here. Oh, it's
it's heating up, and it's great that both of our. Yeah, it's good that both of our teams are in it. So we'll see you guys later.
See you later.
Peace out, guys.